It's episode 4 of Survivor Thailand, and last episode, a mini swap rocked the tribes, forcing 3 players from both tribes to swap over to the opposite tribe. In a desperate attempt to get into the majority again, Luciano tried getting his new members of Chloe, Wesley, and Joe to work with him and Nora, and so they formed a new 5 to go against Ella and Trance. On the Koh Tao tribe, Peter started sharing his concerns about Morgan to his main allies of Kaylee and Jordan. However, with Jordan unhappy to hear this, he warned Morgan and started a new plan to blindside Peter. With Koh Pota winning immunity, Peter had no idea what was coming to him. At Tribal Council, the vote was extremely close, and Morgan had the last laugh, sending Peter home with 5 votes. Now that Kaylee and Sabrina were left on the outs of this vote, will they recover? Who will be the next person voted out of Survivor Thailand? It's day 8 in the game, and Kaylee stares out into the distance in deep thought. In confessional, Kaylee says she barely had any sleep last night. The blindside on Peter really got to her because Jordan flipped without warning. What sucks even more is that she looks like a liar to Morgan, even though she would have been down to keep Morgan around. She doesn't know what to do at this point since she fully expects Morgan to vote her out next Tribal Council. Liza later joins Kaylee, sitting next to her and asking her how she's feeling. Kaylee says she obviously doesn't feel great, and Liza confirms she didn't know Peter was going home. The both of them and Sabrina were left out. In confessional, Liza says that Zaylin approached her after Tribal Council last night to explain her vote for Peter. Essentially, she couldn't warn her during Tribal since she was sitting ahead of her. She didn't want to stand out for whispering to her, so she decided to remain quiet and force the 5-4 vote. It still stings that Zaylin was part of this blindside and she herself wasn't, but she'll try to get over it. Liza then tells Kaylee that she still wants to move forward with the girls. She also thinks Zaylin will remain with the 3 of them. Kaylee sighs and says she hopes so because she needs their votes now more than ever. In the forest, Morgan hugs Jordan, thanking him for everything he did for her yesterday. Jordan says he's locked in with her. He hopes she does the same for him if he's ever in trouble, and Morgan says she 100% will. Jordan then tells Morgan that he's unsure how to feel about Kaylee now. She probably feels awful right about now. Morgan agrees and says she'd rather keep Kaylee at a safe distance. In confessional, Morgan breathes in and exhales with a smile, claiming it feels great to still be in the Thailand forest. Last night, Peter tried to pull a fast one on her and flopped bad. At the moment, Kaylee and Sabrina are on the bottom of this tribe. If this tribe has to go to another tribal, she fully expects one of those 2 to go. She doesn't even mind which one goes home. If Kaylee had no problem sending her home, she has no problem sending Kaylee home. Koh Tao and Koh Pota both arrive to the challenge mats for a reward challenge, and Koh Pota finds out that Peter was last voted out of the game. Many of them are surprised, and Chloe turns to her tribe, telling them that Peter was in one of the best spots there, so this is a huge move from that tribe. Justin then welcomes everyone to their reward challenge. In this challenge, 2 members at a time will claw their way through an archway with vines. Once done, they must return to the mat so the next 2 can go. Once all 4 vines are ripped down completely, 1 tribe member must fully finish a plate of gummy pancakes. Everyone then seems intrigued by the pancakes, but Justin warns them that they are super spicy, so only people who can handle the heat should attempt it. The winning tribe will win an ice cream bar back at camp for the rest of the day. They will enjoy various flavors of ice cream and have as much as they want. He then tells the tribes to strategize on the order they'll go in, and then they'll begin. Everyone is now ready for the challenge, and Justin counts down the first 2 pairs, which are Kaylee and Sabrina for Koh Tao, and Wesley and Joe for Koh Pota. The challenge begins, and both pairs start clawing at the vines. Wesley and Joe quickly cut their vines down and make their way back so that Chloe and Willow can go next. Meanwhile, Kaylee and Sabrina finish their vines, so they make their way back to the mat and allow Jordan and Zaylin to go next. Co-Poet strips down their vines and make their way back, and Willow takes their time to walk back. Finally, Ella and Nora head up next, and meanwhile, Ko-Tao finish their vines and get back to their mat. Morgan and Liesl then go next, and on Co-Poet, Ella goes ham on her vines, carrying herself and Nora in this challenge. They quickly finish and make their way back, allowing Trance and Luciano to head up as the final two for their tribe. On the other hand, Morgan and Liesl finish their vines and make their way back. Corey and Wilbert then go up as the last two for Ko-Tao, while Trance and Luciano wrap up their turn and run back. Corey immediately rips down the vines, not needing Wilbert's help at all, so they both head back to their mat. Ko-Poet then has Joe run to the spicy pancakes to finish off the challenge, and meanwhile, Corey and Wilbert get to their mat and have Jordan run to the spicy pancakes. Joe and Jordan are now neck and neck with Ko-Tao able to catch up. Both guys start gagging at the disgusting taste of the spicy gummies, but Jordan takes it like a champ and inhales the entire plate, meaning Ko-Tao has one reward in the form of an ice cream bar back at camp. Joe then throws up his pancakes on the side. Everyone stands on their mat and Justin once again congratulates Ko-Tao for the win. They'll enjoy their ice cream back at camp. With that, both tribes begin heading to their camps, and in confessional, Corey calls Jordan a machine in these challenges. He just ate a batch of pancakes in under 30 seconds, which he has never seen before. It's insane what this guy can do. In another confessional, Jordan laughs to himself, claiming he once won a hot dog eating contestant. He ate 10 hot dogs in under 7 minutes. Perhaps he was well prepared for this pancake race. At Ko-Poet, everyone stands around camp, sad to have missed out on the ice cream reward. Joe comments that Jordan was unbeatable in that. Ella says she watched them face off, and Joe only had 2 pancakes in his mouth by the time Jordan swallowed all of his. It was absolutely crazy. Chloe then gags, constantly thinking about how Jordan forced all of those pancakes down his throat. In confessional, Chloe admits she never saw someone chow down so many pancakes in a matter of seconds. Jordan is quite a special soul, it would seem. Thank God she would never date him in the real world. He terrifies her with all these tricks he has up his sleeve. Luciano then says he's just proud that they almost beat them. If it was anyone else against Joe, Ko-Tao would lose. Wesley agrees and says they had a great lead at first, but it slowly got lost. Willow apologizes, claiming it's their own fault since they couldn't run back after their turn. Joe immediately tells Willow not to apologize, claiming it barely made a difference. In confessional, Luciano laughs to himself because he found something special last night while everyone else was asleep. He scurried into the forest to look for the tribe idol. There was some sunlight as the sun started to rise, so he was able to look around with easy sight. He then found the idol on a tree and shook it down, granting him this beautiful Ko-Poet idol. He hopes this thing will help him in the long run. He doesn't plan on using it anytime soon thanks to this newly formed trust with Chloe, Wesley, and Joe. At Ko-Tao, everyone begins creating their own self-serve ice cream, and chow down on them. In confessional, Liesl describes the ice cream as very delicate, rich, and especially flavorful. She has never had such good ice cream in her life. Scratch that. She once had ice cream in the Philippines that tasted godly. The brand is called Papa Diddy's. She recommends it 100%. Back with the tribe, people continue to enjoy their ice cream, and Morgan starts dancing in happiness. Zaylin and Liesl join in, and the three do a dance-off. Meanwhile, Sabrina and Kaylee sit on the sidelines, unamused by everything going on. In confessional, Sabrina admits it feels gross watching what's unfolding in front of her. Zaylin and Liesl are clearly vibing with Morgan after having a blindside plan prepared to take her out. It's starting to show her that Zaylin and Lizel were never loyal to her. She needs to keep that in mind going forward so she isn't played by them a second time. As everyone enjoys their ice cream, Morgan goes for more and then notices a strange bowl. She heads over to it and sees a scroll, so she secretly yanks it out and hides it on her. Back on Koh Pota, Trance chats with Ella, telling her something isn't right about Luciano and Nora. He can't fully trust that they'll stick with the two of them and Willow. Ella says she feels the exact same way, and in confessional, Ella claims that she's ready to throw Nora and Luciano under the biggest bus she can find. She never trusted them, especially Nora, so she doesn't care getting dirty. Like she said on day one, she will take risks in this game. She's a journalist. She's made for this. Ella then tells Trance that they need to build upon their relationships with the three Red members. She feels like Joe will be the easiest to sway because he wears his heart on his sleeve. Trance agrees and tells Ella that he'll chat with Chloe and Wesley. With Ella and Trance going to work, Luciano fills in Nora of the current plan. He tells Nora that they are solid with Chloe, Wesley, and Joe. If they need to go to tribal council, either Trance or Ella will be their target. Nora says this sounds great, and in confessional, Luciano claims that things are pretty set in stone on the Koh Pota tribe. Ella, Trance, and Willow are on the outs, and the plan is to vote out Ella or Trance at their next opportunity. Himself and Nora cannot associate themselves with those two because they are part of a bigger alliance with Lizel, Zaylin, and Corey. Nora then tells Luciano that she'll work on her relationships with the Koh Tao trio so they can trust her and not just him. Luciano likes the sound of this, so Nora walks off to find them. Meanwhile, Ella talks with Joe, asking him if he'd be willing to work with her, Trance, and Willow to take out Nora at their next tribal council. Joe shrugs and says he's truthfully voting with his crew, which are Chloe and Wesley. Wherever they go, he goes. He can bring this up with them, though, and see what they think. In another conversation, Trance speaks with Chloe and Wesley together, telling them that they can work great as a six against Nora and Luciano. He can offer them protection going into a swap or merge since Corey, Zaylin, and Lizel are loyal to them from the other tribe. Nobody is working with Nora and Luciano meanwhile. In confessional, Chloe says that she finds it funny how Trance and Ella are campaigning a bit late to the Koh Tao trio. However, it would be stupid not to consider their offer. They indeed offer a bit more than Nora and Luciano, and that's numbers. She personally doesn't feel the greatest about her original tribe, apart from Wesley and Joe of course. Perhaps those big numbers from Koh Pota can help them survive another swap if that occurs this season. Later on, Nora finds Joe and asks him how he's doing. Joe then lets her know that Ella just campaigned to him to go against her, calling her weak and claiming that Luciano is also on the bottom with her. Nora smirks and says it's very obvious what Ella is doing. She's trying to diminish her character so that Koh Tao side with her. Both her and Trance have been running Koh Pota, so she's not surprised Ella is once again trying to gain control of the tribe. Joe tells Nora that he highly doubts anything will change. He's still locked in to vote out Ella or Trance. In confessional, Nora feels like Ella is her biggest threat at the moment. She keeps gunning after her, which is obviously a concern. Not to mention, Ella barely ever speaks to her. Every time she tries to speak with Ella, Ella avoids the conversation and even gets mad at her. It's clear that Koh Pota cannot work together on this tribe, so it's up to Koh Tao to pick a side. Back on Koh Tao, Morgan finds Jordan and tells him to come sit with her by a tree, hidden from the rest of their tribe. He follows her and they both sit down. Morgan then reveals to him that she found something at the ice cream bar. Jordan's face immediately lights up, and he asks curiously what she found. In confessional, Morgan makes a slightly disappointed face because out of all possible advantages she could have gotten, she got the legacy advantage. This advantage acts as an idol at the first merge vote or the final 6 tribal council. It is used like an idol, but only at those two opportunities. If the holder of this legacy advantage is voted out, they must bequeath it to someone still in the game. It can only be used on the holder, and nobody else. Back with the two, Morgan admits she wishes she had a better advantage than just a legacy advantage, but it is what it is. Jordan tells her this advantage is still really good. They could easily be threats at the merge because of how physical they are. Morgan shrugs and says he has a point, so she won't be too disappointed by this advantage. In confessional, Jordan feels amazing after being told about Morgan's legacy advantage. This shows him that she trusts him fully. He's likely her closest ally in the game. This is perfect for him because it prevents Morgan from getting too close to someone like Kaylee or Sabrina. She'll always stick by him, and that's what he needs going forward. In the meantime, Kaylee chats with Zaylin alone, asking her if they are still good. Zaylin says they 100% are. She doesn't ever plan to flip on her, Sabrina, and Liesl. She explains that she flipped on Peter because she didn't want to betray Corey's trust. Corey already leans towards taking out Peter over Morgan. Kaylee says she too would have voted out Peter, but Morgan would never believe that. In confessional, Kaylee admits the trust has been broken between her and Zaylin, but she'll have to work with her on this tribe because she has nowhere else to go. Jordan and Morgan have been avoiding her lately, so that alliance is clearly done. Zaylin then tells Kaylee they will have the numbers to do what they want since they are a 4. Plus, Corey might repay her by voting with them at the next tribal. Kaylee thanks her and gives her a hug, and in confessional, Zaylin says she has no reason to vote out Kaylee or Sabrina. She's way closer to them than she was to Peter. She's closer to them than to Morgan and Jordan combined. Therefore, she fully expects one of Morgan, Jordan, or Wilbert to go home next. It's officially day 9, and both tribes arrive to the challenge mats for their next immunity challenge. Justin takes back the immunity statue from Kopoda and proceeds to explain this next challenge. In this, everyone will sit in their own booth and answer trivia questions about the season so far. For each question, if anyone gets it wrong, they are eliminated. They will get red or blue color options to pick from, so it's a 50% chance of getting out if they guess the answer. The last tribe standing with members in the challenge will win immunity, safe from the vote. In addition, he knows how much Kopoda has been struggling with their food situation at camp, so he'll give them a flint after the challenge, even if they end up losing. Kopoda cheers and thanks Justin. With that, everyone sits in their own individual booths, ready for this challenge to commence. Justin then goes ahead and asks the first question. Who was the first person eliminated from the first endurance challenge of the season? Red for Wilbert, or blue for Wesley? Everyone locks in an answer, and it's revealed that the correct answer was blue, Wesley. Wesley gets out on his own question, which shocks everyone, and Corey also gets out from the other tribe. Both tribes have 7 members now. Question 2. Which player introduced themselves first when they all arrived to the mats on day 1? Red for EK, or blue for Morgan? Everyone locks in an answer, and the answer is revealed to be red for EK. Liesl and Morgan are out from Ko Tao, and Ella is out from Kopoda. Question 3. Which tribe technically won reward from a challenge first? Red for Ko Tao, or blue for Kopoda? Everyone then locks in an answer, and Justin reveals the answer as red for Ko Tao. It was the reward and immunity combined on day 4. Wilbert and Zaylin both get out from Ko Tao, leaving only 3 of them in the challenge against 6 Kopoda members. Question 4. How many people had to be forcefully swapped onto an opposing tribe during the mini-swap twist? Red for 3, or blue for 4? Everyone then answers with red or blue, and Justin reveals the answer as blue. 4 people swapped. Chloe is the only one to get it wrong, leaving 5 Kopoda members remaining. Question 5. How many total players had to draw rocks when 4 people had to forcefully swap to an opposing tribe? Red for 14 or blue for 15? Everyone struggles to pick an answer, and they all finally lock in. Justin says the correct answer is blue, 15 people. Everyone got it wrong on Ko Tao, while everyone got it right on Ko Poda, meaning Ko Poda has won immunity, safe from tonight's vote. They all hug each other in reaction to winning, while Ko Tao remains quiet and disappointed. Justin congratulates Ko Poda on their second immunity in a row, handing over the immunity statue. Once again, someone will be the 5th person voted out of Survivor Thailand from the Ko Tao tribe. Justin orders everyone to head back to camp, so they start making their way there. In confessional, Sabrina says she's pissed at that last question. She didn't memorize how many people drew rocks, and she felt too overwhelmed to make the simple calculation of 17 players minus Chloe and Joe, who were the only 2 volunteers to swap. Going into tonight's tribal council, she feels extremely worried because Zaylin and Liesl are clearly unpredictable allies. Mainly Zaylin. They can easily side with Morgan tonight. At Ko Tao's camp, everyone feels disappointed by the loss, and Kaylee tells everyone she's going to go fill up her water at the well. She then heads out, and Sabrina claims she'll follow. Morgan then publicly asks if the 6 of them who remain here want to vote together at tonight's vote, and Zaylin asks what the plan would be. Morgan then offers they split the vote between Kaylee and Sabrina. She doesn't mind who goes between the 2. Liesl and Zaylin stay quiet, unwilling to give their own input. Corey then says he's cool voting one of them out. If they go to a re-vote, he'd much rather vote for Sabrina. It's a personal reason for him. Nobody rejects this, and Morgan confirms it'll be Sabrina going home in that case. Meanwhile, with Kaylee and Sabrina, Kaylee warns Sabrina they are now giving the other 6 the chance to come together and vote one of them out collectively since they are left alone. Sabrina says she doesn't give a crap at this point. She saw how Zaylin and Liesl acted towards Morgan at the ice cream reward. They are lost in the clouds now. In confessional, Sabrina says that out of pure frustration, she will put a vote onto Zaylin as a thank you for flipping on her. She knows either herself or Kaylee are going home tonight, so she may as well head out with fireworks. Kaylee then tells Sabrina they are better off communicating with Zaylin and Liesl about this vote. They control Corey's vote. If they maintain trust with each other, that's 5 votes against Morgan, Jordan, and Wilbert's 3 votes. Sabrina says there's no way Corey is flipping on Jordan, but Kaylee shrugs and says never say never. In confessional, Kaylee feels like there's still some hope that she can get the votes onto either Morgan, Jordan, or Wilbert tonight. Preferably, it's Morgan because the trust between them has been fully broken. Herself and Sabrina need to put on their happy faces in front of Zaylin and Liesl if they plan on sticking around. It's just difficult with Sabrina because she expresses her frustrations quite clearly on her face. Kaylee then tells Sabrina to relax her face and practice some face rubbing exercises. She needs to loosen up her cheeks because they are way too tense. Sabrina laughs in response and says she'll do just fine acting happy in front of the girls. Morgan, Jordan, and Corey later chat together, and Morgan asks if they are cool with Sabrina going home or if there is some secret plan she's unaware about, and Corey confirms he wants Sabrina gone. In confessional, Corey says he doesn't vibe with Sabrina on any level. It would be great if she could go home tonight. That'll be one less person possibly against him. Plus, he'd rather keep Zaylin, Liesl, Morgan, and Jordan all together. Jordan then says that he's personally cool with a simple vote against Sabrina. She probably hates their guts by now. Morgan also says she's cool with this vote, so the 3 then split off to chat with other people. Meanwhile, Zaylin and Liesl chat with Kaylee and Sabrina at the well, and Kaylee asks them what's going on with tonight's vote. Zaylin then fills the 2 in that Morgan, Jordan, and Wilbert are voting for Sabrina tonight. They expect herself, Liesl, and Corey to vote for Kaylee, and then they'd all re-vote onto Sabrina. That's exactly what was said during that conversation just now. Sabrina breathes out and asks if they are flipping on those people or not, and Zaylin says they are going to flip. Kaylee then asks for a name to write down since that's all she cares about right now, and Zaylin says it should be Wilbert tonight. In confessional, Zaylin says that in order for there to be a chance at Corey flipping his vote tonight, they need to put the votes on to Wilbert. Corey wouldn't have a problem voting him out, unlike with Morgan and Jordan. Plus, Wilbert is basically a non-factor in these votes. He's not much of a player. Sabrina then tells Zaylin and Liesl that they are fine voting for Wilbert. It's much better to go the safe route than the riskier one. Kaylee agrees and wishes them luck convincing Corey to flip. Zaylin later finds Corey alone and quickly asks him how willing he is to flip on Wilbert tonight. Corey asks Zaylin why she asks, and Zaylin says she doesn't feel good about Wilbert as an overall player in the game. He never gives out information to people and will constantly act as a wild card. He's almost forgotten half the time in these game conversations. In confessional, Corey says he's a bit skeptical of this plan. Suddenly, Zaylin wants to flip the vote to keep Sabrina around. Could it be that Zaylin wants to prioritize an alliance with Sabrina and Kaylee over him? He doesn't like this sound of this plan. Corey then tells Zaylin he'd much rather keep Jordan and Morgan happy and split the vote tonight between Kaylee and Sabrina. Zaylin, however, keeps pushing for Wilbert to go home. She warns Corey that if they take out Sabrina, they run the risk of Kaylee reuniting with Morgan, Jordan, and Wilbert, leaving them two on the outs with Liesl. Corey still doesn't feel good about this flip, and in confessional, Zaylin says she can't go through with this Wilbert vote if Corey isn't on board. She needs him as a number to ensure Sabrina and Kaylee do not flip on her in the future. If Corey isn't on her side, it could ruin her survival chances on this tribe. Plus, taking out Wilbert and losing Corey as an ally doesn't pay off to her. Whatever Corey decides is what will go down at tonight's vote. It's the 9th night in the game, and Ko Tao arrives to Tribal Council and take their seats. Justin welcomes them to Tribal Council yet again, asking them if they liked that last question in the trivia challenge. Most people laugh in response, and Jordan tells Justin that most of them don't do quick maths that easily. Justin then proceeds to ask if this loss was devastating for anyone, and Sabrina vocalizes that it devastated her. She isn't laughing right now. She's actually upset. In fact, she feels like people threw the challenge today because what the hell were some people thinking when answering the easier questions? Morgan immediately tells Sabrina that nobody threw the challenge, at least to her knowledge. They don't benefit from throwing it, but Sabrina claps back and says they have every reason to, especially her and Jordan. Their little duo wants to take her and Kaylee out tonight and tomorrow, so they should stop acting like fools and admit their true intentions. Morgan laughs in response and calls Sabrina crazy. Justin then asks Jordan if he thinks anyone threw the challenge today, and Jordan says he hasn't heard a single peep about throwing. To him, it just seems like Sabrina wants to deny the truth of going home tonight. She's pinning the blame on a thrown challenge because she knows she has a good chance of going home. Sabrina then replies, telling Jordan to fuck off first of all, and second of all, she wants him to know that she doesn't need to search for excuses to go home. In fact, her game isn't over yet, so him and Morgan should watch their mouths. Morgan then asks Sabrina what the hell her problem is with her, and Sabrina says the problem really started on day 2 when she voted out Angela with no warning to her quote-unquote alliance with herself, Joe, and Angela. Morgan then claims that she literally found out about the Angela plan last minute and tried convincing people not to do it, but she didn't have the numbers to prevent it from happening. Kaylee then speaks up about the alliance she had with herself, Morgan, Jordan, and Wesley. The 4 of them worked together, and Jordan pushed for Angela to go home. Jordan then cuts in and claims that it was a collective decision, and Kaylee shakes her head, claiming that's untrue. Even Morgan knows it. Morgan doesn't say anything in response to that and instead says that she's just baffled that Sabrina has a personal problem with her. Corey then cuts in and tells everyone that for him, he doesn't care about what problems they had on day 2. It doesn't matter to him who voted for who. He's thinking about tonight's vote. That's all that matters to him. Sabrina then tells Corey that she hopes he sees the true colors of Morgan and decides to get himself away from her. Justin stays quiet the whole time, amazed by the drama. With everyone now settled down, Justin asks if anyone wants to add anything else to this discussion, but nobody says a word. Justin then tells everyone they'll get to the vote in that case, so they all get ready for it.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote, Sabrina. 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 That's 3 votes, Sabrina. Wilbert. Wilbert. 3 votes, Sabrina, 2 votes, Wilbert. Wilbert. We're tied. 3 votes, Wilbert, 3 votes, Sabrina. Wilbert. That's 4 votes, Wilbert, 3 votes, Sabrina, 1 vote left. Fifth person voted out of Survivor Thailand. Wilbert.
Wilbert makes a confused face and gets up out of his seat, and Morgan and Jordan turn to Corey, Zaylin, and Liesl. Sabrina meanwhile remains quiet in her seat, avoiding eye contact with Morgan and Jordan. Wilbert then sets his torch down next to Justin and watches his torch get snuffed. He then walks away in silence and Zaylin says goodbye to him out loud. Justin then tells the tribe to head back to camp, so they all make their way back. Next time on Survivor Thailand, with the blind side of Wilbert at Tribal Council, Corey, Zaylin, and Liesl are forced to pick a side between working with Morgan and Jordan or Sabrina and Kaylee. On the other hand, at Kopoda, Joe, Chloe, and Wesley remain in the middle, and although Joe and Chloe lean towards working with Nora and Luciano, Wesley feels torn as he finds Trance and Ella way more appealing in their pitch than Nora. Who will end up going home from the tribe that loses immunity? Find out in the next episode. Wilbert's final thoughts. Wilbert is sad to have gone home, but he understood he had no chance of winning this game. It's too stressful for him to handle. He latched onto Jordan ever since he gave him another chance at the game, and unfortunately, Jordan couldn't protect him a second time. What's actually shocking is that Zaylin and Corey flipped on him tonight, especially Zaylin. They had a great connection ever since the swap, but perhaps she had other priorities ahead of him. Wilbert admits he learned a lot about himself this season, so he'll take pride in that.